Hello there, Runnineers. It's Manny again, and we're just having too much information dropping on one day. Updates are coming through, so I decided I'm going to drop this video on a Tuesday instead of Thursday. That way, you guys can get the most information because I do see some misinformation being put out there. So we're going to get going pretty soon with some news, the topic, and then we have another training video. Then I'm going to, at the very end, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the fundraiser that we're going to do live from Animal Kingdom November 1st. But before we do, like any other video, please subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. When I look at the statistics, there's still a lot of you guys who have not or watching the channel. Please, it means a lot to the channel. It means a lot to the growth. One of the things I'm looking at is upgrading this camera. Yes, I'm going to finally upgrade this camera. I was actually thinking of doing it very, very soon, but right now I just have a lot of stuff going on, and I would have to update the audio, which is going to take a little bit longer. But once we get all that put together, I want to do that. I'm actually looking at, I'm going to talk to you because I'm going to be running with my GoPro in a little bit. I'm going to be upgrading my GoPro pretty soon too, which should stabilize a little bit more. But with that said, let's get to today's news. We got some small information of news going on. First of all, this is going on. So January 5th is the last day that you can ride the Big Thunder Mountain. So that is before the marathon weekend. So if you guys are going to Wine Dine or any of the Christmas parties, I would suggest if you want to get on it, go ahead and get on it. It's one of those rides that I get on every once in a while. It's been a little bumpy, and from my understanding is they are going to redo the whole track, which is going to be awesome. They're going to add some scenes to it. Like if you've gone to Disneyland, you see how smooth it is over there, or a lot smoother than it is at Disney World. But again, if you get there to Walt Disney World Marathon weekend and expect to ride it, it's going to be closed by then because January 5th, we're running right after that, unless you get there a little bit early. Then we also got this bit of news, which kind of goes into what we're going to be talking about at the end. This is that Triceratops Spins is going to be the first one that's going to be closing, and that is going to be January 12th, so the day of the marathon weekend. So I'll touch on that at the very end. But again, November 1st, real quick, we're going to be doing a fundraiser, and we're going to be getting on Triceratops Spins. Any of you guys want to join us, you're more than welcome to do so. And the last bit of news that just dropping, and a lot of people, it's going crazy. People are posting about it right now. Is this that there is going to be an official sponsor for Run Disney for shoes and possibly shirts? I've been reading some of the stuff, mainly shoes, but it's going to be Brooks. So what does that mean for the Run Disney events, the community, so forth and so on? So if you guys have been running as long as I have, you guys remember that a long time ago, I believe it was New Balance that had the shoes, and they were very, very popular. You had to get in line. It was a virtual queue before it was a virtual queue. You had to go in there, sign up. They would bring you back at a certain time. You could buy your shoes. The shoes were very expensive, so I decided, this was a long time ago, over 10 years ago, and I decided to sign up. So I came back, and they still made me wait a little bit longer. So at that moment in time, I kept hearing that sizes were already sold out, so forth and so on. So I just left, and I didn't buy them. It was probably one of the smartest things I did, because I remember reading online and got to meet some people that had the shoes, and most of them did not have good reviews about the shoes. The shoes were nicely made. They were Disney race shoes. You could use them on the runs, but the problem was they weren't the highest quality. From what I understood and from what I saw, some people after a few runs, they were already falling apart, and there was no discounts, no refunds, no nothing, and so it wasn't the greatest thing. Now, I do believe that Run Disney has come a long way, because they used to give us the worst shirts also. I still remember the first time you watched it, the bottom would actually expand and the top part would shrink, and so you had this weird looking shirt. And now they're getting better and better and better, and I think the quality has gotten better over the years. Is it perfect? No. But is it better? Yes. So with that saying, do I think that the shoes are going to be good? I think they're going to be good. I don't know if I'm going to go out there and buy some. I myself run with Saucony. So I'm so used to Saucony that I'm not going to switch over to Brooks just because of this. Now, they might get me if they have Figgy. If they have Figment on there, yeah, it might have to be something that I'm going to look into. But again, this is not starting until 2025, so we have until 2025. There's going to be more stuff that's going to probably drop later on this year or early next year. I think it's going to be later this year, because early next year we start buying those shoes. But what do you guys think? Are you excited about the shoes making a comeback? Do you want to buy the shoes? Do you want to just take a look at them and say, hey, those are cool, but I'm not going to get any? What are your thoughts? So let's get into today's topic now. Today's topic is going to be the after party. So the after party started a while back. They started it for Wine Dine. Wine Dine has the only really, had the only official after party, and it was included in the price, and it still is included in the price if you're doing the challenge or the half marathon. In a Springtime Surprises now has a splash, so that's the second one. The other 4 now do not have an official after party, but we'll talk about something at the very end that we might do this coming marathon weekend. But anyways, so is it worth it? So in my mind, I decided I'm going to put a list together. First of all, the pros, and I'm going to put the cons together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over all of them to make sure that you guys understand what's going on. Again, my suggestion is don't even listen to me. Experience something for the first time. If you've never done it, experience it yourself. That way you can go out there and look at it. But watching this video, you might get a better idea of what to expect. You can go ahead and you can go out there and do it if you have the ticket already. And if you don't and you decide, okay, I'm going to do it, but at least you're going to go out there and you can experience it. And then you could sit there and tell yourself, hey, in future years, I'm never doing this again. Or you might say, wow, this is a hidden gem. I'm going to continue doing this. So let's go ahead and we're going to start off with the cons. But before we do, guys, before I do the pros and the cons, I'm gonna go over some of the stuff that's on the page. You guys are more than welcome to look at this. But again, this is why I do these videos, because a lot of you guys don't have the time. So that way you can look at it now and you can say, oh, okay, this is where I can find this information. Let's take a quick look at the pages. So we're gonna start on the runDisney.com page. We're gonna click on Wine and Dine. So here we are. We are going to look at weekend overview. That's going to be the first thing. If we notice that when we look in there, the post-race party is still open. So registration is still open. We'll look at that in a little bit. But what we're going to do next is we're going to go to events. We're going to click, you can either scroll down or on the right-hand side, it's going to say post-race party. So here is the information. Cheers to 15. It gives you the information of when it is, 10 to 1 on, that's November 3rd. If we scroll down a little bit, we notice that it's going to start at 5 p.m. on November 3rd. You can start getting in at 5 p.m. There will be regular park goers all the way until 9 p.m. The park closes at 9. Then anybody who gets in line after that is going for rides is going to have that extra ticket. They won't let you get on there. But if we look to buy the tickets, you can click on this to look at your tickets, and when I click on buy the tickets, it gets me here a bunch of waiver information. So we keep scrolling down, it'll allow me to buy the tickets, continue, but we are not going to buy tickets because we got ours. But this is what it is. So it says 103.99, but with tax and everything, it's $110 per person. Now we're going to go back over here. We are going to go through the runner information, and so we're going to go to the weekend overview. This is the digital event guide, and we're going to go to the post-race party information. So this is going to have all the information we're going to need. Again, it's going to tell us what rides are open. Soaring is going to be open. It's going to Ratatouille is going to be open. Spaceship Earth, Frozen Ever After, and of course Cosmic Rewind. So it's going to give some information right here. There is some clicking stuff here. So important information is going to be the first one. So we'll click on that one. And here it's going to give us information. So for example, if you do not get your ticket for whatever reason, that's going to be mailed to you starting yesterday. So starting October 14th, if you do not get it, there's going to be a place where you can pick it up. It's going to be at the ticket office. It's going to be in front of the merchandise area. So outside, where it comes to Wild World of Sports, anybody who's international, thanks to the people that are international, some of them reached out to me, this is exactly your information right here. You're going to be able to look at that. It's going to tell you exactly where to go pick up your ticket in case. And of course the $15 digital e-card or the gift card. All right, so this is a promo card, and I'm going to reiterate this over and over and over. You had to use it during the weekend because it has an expiration date. It's not one of those that you can just keep forever and go back a year later and then use it. It's $15. You could use it at the expo. You can use it at the after party. You could use it in the parks. You can use it whenever you want to, but please use it, because if not, you lose it. Transportation, this is going to be really important because the Skyliner and the monorail are not going to be running, but they're going to have buses all the way until 2:30 a.m. And so the last thing we're going to look at is the Minivan Connect, which is basically stuff that we already know. So if you decide to get a lift, this is where you get it. So now that we've done that, let's go over the cons. We're going to go over the cons first. And the first one is going to be that it starts late at night. Now, you looked at it as if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a park ticket to get into Epcot, you can get in at least as early as 5. So it really, you get in at 5, it's 5 extra hours. The 9 to 10, the people that do not have the after hours ticket are not going to be allowed to get in lines anymore. So if they were already in line at 8:59, they can stay in line. But if they try to get in line at 9:01, they're not going to be able to unless you have the band. Yes, you're going to get a band. So it's going to start late, and it's going to officially start at 10. That's when the characters start coming out. That's when a lot of the stuff is going to go on sale, except for the we already saw that for that jumbo pin that starts at 7. So the rest of us, again, at 10 o'clock is when it officially starts. And again, if you have little ones, it might be a little bit too hard to stay up all night, and you got up early in the morning. If you didn't rest throughout the day, I guarantee you by 11, 12 o'clock, you're going to be going like, it's time to go to bed. And so I've been there before, I've done that, so I understand that. So that's one of the cons. It starts late at night, and it goes late at night. The second potential con is that, yes, there are going to be shorter lines, and I'm going to go over that in a little bit. But the popular rides might still have over an hour wait. That does happen. So if you get on 3 different lines, let's say you want to do Frozen Ever After, Ratatouille, and you want to do Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, you may spend all 3 hours just waiting in line to get on those rides once. That can happen. Will it happen? I don't know. It's hard to tell because, again, there's going to be times that those lines are going to be a lot faster, a lot quicker. There's years where that happens, where you can get in there a little bit faster. There's years when you can't get there that faster. So again, it's one of those things that even though there's less people there, you still might not be able to get onto the rides as fast as you think you can. The third potential con is that there is alcohol being sold there. So that means people are going to be drinking. That means that they can spill stuff on you. Some people can get a little bit intoxicated. Usually in my experiences, most of the people are fine. They're okay. But again, when alcohol gets mixed in there, people start doing things they probably are not proud of. It never has gotten that bad that I've ever seen. But again, understand that alcohol is involved. And the fourth con is basically if you do not have a ticket, or you get a ticket because you are running the half marathon, the challenge, but you want family members to get the ticket. It's $110 per person. And let's say you have 4 people in your family, that's $440. So it can get pretty expensive. And if you're going to go to this after party and you're not going to be able to get on a lot of rides, there's stuff that you don't like to do, like you don't like drinking or anything like that. Well, again, it may be a waste of money and time for people who are going to be paying for it. So there's more of a monetary attachment to that and a little bit of a setback. Because again, if you're going to be with a family of 4 and all of you are paying $440, may not be the best thing. But again, I always look at it this way: experience it once, you never have to experience it again if you have the means to be able to go. So now let's go to the pros, and a lot of them are going to be piggybacking on the cons. So we'll start off with the first one. So it is basically an after hours event. If you have never done an after hours event, they are pretty cool. They have special things such as special character stops. Again, there's usually a shorter lines for the rides. They usually have something special that drinks, and so we saw that they're going to be giving out some drinks, and you're going to have to buy them, so they're not just going to give them to you, but they're going to have some special drinks after the run, and you get to interact with other runners. So it's actually really, really cool. After hours events have become something that I love going to. So to me, it's easy. It's an after hour event. The second thing that I thought of was you're with your fellow runners. So you got a lot of cool stories to share. It's really, really cool interacting with people. Some of the people you meet on the course, you say hi to, or you don't really even see them, you interact with them online. Then all of a sudden they're there, so you're able to interact with them live. It's a really cool thing. I love interacting with you guys, whether it be in the parks, outside, whatever it is. But I especially love it there because we're there. Sometimes I even get on rides with people that I meet, and it's really, really cool. But again, you're with your fellow runners, so that's a really cool pro. And then the third one is one that we've already talked about, is that there can be longer lines, but they could be shorter lines. So that's a third one. So usually, typically, there are shorter lines. I've done the Epcot After Hours and gone on Guardians of the Galaxy 4 times. Now, is that going to happen for the After Party for Wine and Dine? Probably not. I might be able to get on it if I want to 2 or 3 times. But again, I want to partake in other things there. So it's going to be one of those things where there probably is going to be shorter lines. And there usually is. But again, it's not 100% that that's going to happen. But there usually are shorter lines. Okay, number 4, I've already touched on this one. But before, starting at about 7 o'clock, so the line was going to start getting long. Probably starting at a 5 or 6, is you can purchase that special commemorative jumbo pin. Last year we got in line. After a while, when we saw it, we decided not to get it. It's a little bit pricey, but it's a commemorative thing. If you've never done these before, you hardly ever do this. This is your first one. I would really recommend at least taking a look at it just in case, because it's something to remember, especially if it's got some kind of special attachment to you. Again, being either your first runDisney live event, your first Wine and Dine, first one with family, whatever it is. But at least you have some kind of memory in a form of a pin. Number 5, this one is going to be before the party starts, but it's something that is not thought of, is the concert series. The concert series starts, there's a performance at 5:30, 6:45, and at 8 o'clock. And they are in they're in World Showcase. They're by the American Pavilion in that little amphitheater, and it's free. Well, actually, it's included in the price of the admission. So you can get in there and you can watch the concert. Sometimes they get a little bit packed, so just be aware of that. Especially the first one kind of gets a little bit packed. You can start lining up for the second one while the first one is going on. But this year, it's going to be an old classic, Boyz II Men. And I have seen Boyz II Men a couple of times before, and they are great. They are fantastic. I really recommend. If you can at least go see one of the shows, I think that would be great. So as far as the party, these are a couple pros. I'm going to put them all together because this is part of the party. Is there going to be unique character stops. So you're going to be able to get some pictures with some unique characters. They are just like regular characters, and it should be cooler that night, so they probably can stay out a little bit longer. They do switch out, but there is going to be unique characters. Last year it seemed to be one at each pavilion, and so you could do that. But again, the lines were about 20 to 30 minutes each, so if you weren't going to be able to get through all of the pavilions, or it was going to be difficult to get some. But you do have some unique character pictures. And I'll reiterate this again, but there is unique drinks that you can get during the after party that you cannot get during regular times. And the last thing is there's a DJ playing, and so the cast members, I thought this was the greatest thing of last year's. I even videotaped a little bit because it really was. People started leaving early. By midnight, it was basically almost empty. And so the cast members were actually dancing. I thought this was really, really cool. I like that. The DJs, everybody is interacting. The DJ makes it great. It's a lot of fun. Again, I myself like it. But that's the last pro. So the question is it worth it? And this is going to be my answer. To me, it is worth it. But I always tell people this is just me. So this is my experience. I enjoy it there because I have my friends, my runDisney friends who I love interacting with. I see them when I'm there. We interact throughout the year, but I love running into them. It's ironically saying that. But yes, I love interacting with them. So to me, it's great, but you guys have to see if it's for you. So you might get in there and say, this is not for me. It might be something that, it's a one and done. But I really would recommend, if you've never experienced it, experience it, make up your own mind, then let me know what you think. But I really enjoy it. Is it tiring? Yes, I'm usually tired at the very end. I'm really wanting to go to bed as quickly as possible as soon as I get to my room. But it's very enjoyable, and I will continue doing it as long as I can go and I can keep going. I'm going to keep going. So now we have another training video, and I kept thinking to myself, what can we make this video about? and it had to do a lot with, because I'm seeing a lot of people are trying to do new things at the very end of training. So I thought to myself, what should you do towards the end of training? What are the things to look out for, especially like the day of? If you've never done something the day of the run, you've been training, you've been doing this whole, you got this whole regimen, you do it, and then all of a sudden you get there the day of and you decide to switch it up. So this video is about that, but we're going out onto the course. We'll see you back here in a little bit. Well, we are outside and we're entering the park. So this is gonna be a good one. It's nice and cool. The temperature in Texas now, South Texas, has been nice and cool in the mornings now, and it gets hot during the day. We're still hitting record high. Today it's supposed to be 97, but right now it's about 65. Nice and sunny. So we're gonna run a couple of things too. I made some modifications to the camera. I noticed, I was watching some of my run videos, and I noticed that it doesn't stabilize as well in the dark. So I made a couple of modifications. So that's not gonna affect us today morning, but it should affect us in the future. And I'm looking to upgrade the GoPro pretty soon anyway, and that should help. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start. So for today's topics, we're going to talk about what you should do now and not do on race day. And I'm going to start by saying this: there's going to be some people that have done these races before and have tried something new on race day and have gotten away with it, and that's fine. Just remember, it's not for the majority. Most of the people will not be able to do that kind of stuff. I'm going to go over the whole ensemble, everything from head to toe, and a couple other things. But let's get started. So the first thing is headgear. So should I try new headgear during the race day? You can. Depends on what it is, how heavy it is. So for example, if all of a sudden you decide to wear a lamp and you haven't worn it yet, might not get away with it. Might be troublesome. You should be okay, but it might bother you a little bit. So I would recommend, if you've never worn like a headband like this, practice with it, but you should be able to get away with it. Lightweight running caps, you should be able to get away with those. All right, let's continue. So next up is the shirt. I'm wearing this shirt because I can't run them on the races anymore, because there's no longer any volunteers. But race shirts, okay. Practice whatever you can. I would practice even with a long sleeve shirt, just to make sure, even if and it should be cooling down throughout the country now, so you can practice that. But practice layering, so that way you're used to it. But what I would not do is change your shirt to something that's heavy, something that's like really heavy cotton. Then all of a sudden you're gonna be running and you're gonna be going like, damn, I'm hot. And even if it's cool, you're gonna get hot, because it doesn't dissipate, it doesn't cool you down. Remember, sweat is the body's way of cooling you down. So you want to have something on that's not going to make that process any harder. So something like this, something very, very thin that absorbs sweat, but don't, especially on race day. I see a lot of people, hey, at the expo, this shirt looks cool, I'm gonna wear this one, and then they struggle. So make sure you do that ahead of time. Okay, we're walking now, and we're gonna go on shorts, compression shorts, leggings. So that's the next part. Should you wear something new on race day? You can get away with it. The only thing is, if you're switching brands, even if it's within the same brand and the stitching is off and you're not used to it, you might get some chafing, unexpected chafing with that. If it's, again, to piggyback on the shirt story, you might end up
buying some shorts that are really cool, but they're a little heavier. And so once they're a little bit heavier, you're gonna be going like, damn it, shouldn't have worn these. And so again, you can get away with it. You can get away with it more on short runs, but longer runs, probably not the best idea. And let's move on. All right, so now we're gonna talk about shoes and socks, right? So shoes and socks, this is where you start getting the point where it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. Socks, again, depending on where you run, what the conditions are, you can use a little bit thicker just in case it's cold. So whatever you're used to, and I would always bring two, one that's a little bit thinner, one that's a little bit thicker. But again, you're probably already used to those. At the expo, they may sell your specific brand. Make sure you get your specific style. Any new style might cause a little bit of issues. Now we get to the shoes. Probably the biggest area of controversy throughout, because people will buy new shoes and run with them. I would advise against this. And the reason is because shoes basically will mold to your specific foot the way it is. And everybody's foot is different. So it's gonna take a while. The shoes I'm wearing right now have taken me a while to break in. I used to be only able to do short distance running with these. Now I can do long distance running with them. So if I would have decided to run a half with these, I would have been in a lot of pain at about mile marker 6, so halfway through. So I would advise, if you're gonna buy new shoes and wear them, God bless you. Best of luck. Probably not the best idea, but you might be one of those that gets away with it. Even if it's the same style, same brand, whatever it is, you might not get away with it. So I would not recommend it. That would be one of the ones I didn't recommend. So now let's move on to costumes, because it's a Disney run, right? I've never worn a costume, but I see a lot of people run with costumes. I have friends of mine who run with costumes. And you know what? They're great, they're fantastic. I would strongly recommend, do not buy a costume and just wear it on race day. Practice with it, and please do not buy a costume at the expo and then decide to wear it, especially if it's heavy. It's not going to be a fun thing. And besides that, we have all the guidelines now, so if you're trying to run with the costume and it doesn't follow the guidelines, they're going to make you take it off anyway. But costume is one, just like shoes. If it's something new, I would not wear it race day for the first time. If you practice with it, yes. And then there's going to be other things that come into play. You might be running in the cold weather, practicing it for 5 miles, and then all of a sudden you hit the half marathon and it's hot. So it's going to be a little different ball game. So again, prepare for a lot of things. So the next things I'm going to advise about is going to be stuff that you do on race day prep, that kind of stuff the night before. So if you have something that's been working for you, keep doing that. If you eat a certain food, I like salmon or chicken with veggies, big glass of water, and then that's fine. There is equivalents at Disney resorts or in the area, so you can get that. I wouldn't try something new, especially if you're newer to run Disney and don't 100% know how your body will react. So don't like eat a cheeseburger and expect next morning to feel at your best. So the next one's going to be the morning of. And well, sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm messing with my watch here. And so the next one's going to be the morning of. So the morning of, whatever you practice doing, try to keep it at whatever you're doing that's working, okay? So, but one of the biggest problems is going to be is that for a Disney run, we're getting up probably on average about 2.5 hours, and I'm stopping, so about 2.5 hours before the run. When you run on weekends, I'm gonna guess your average is about an hour. Mine is 30 minutes because I just get out, run to the front where my the park is. I live right by a park, and I go in. But my point is that it's gonna be thrown off a little bit. I really would recommend at least once during your training to get up a little bit earlier. Try to see how you're gonna get food into your system, whether you eat right away, snack right before, whatever it is, and see what works. Just like anything else, you're gonna see what works. The morning of, I wouldn't try anything new. Again, you can get away with it, and if you're gonna try something new, don't get outrageous. Don't eat like a sandwich with bacon in it or something like that. You just don't know. So I wouldn't try anything new that morning. I usually have a banana or a bagel with peanut butter, something like that, and a couple of hours before, then just sip water till about half an hour before. That's what I do, and then I'm usually okay. My stomach is fine. But the worst thing you want to do is eat something really, really heavy either the night before or that morning of, and then you're sitting there in the corral or standing there in the corral feeling very uncomfortable. Yes, they do let you go to the restroom beforehand. Yes, there's restrooms on the route, and that's happened to me before where I had to make a major stop at restrooms. So that does happen. So that's that. So I would not eat something. I wouldn't try to change it that much, is the best way of saying. And then the last thing I want to cover is during the run, because during the run you're gonna have water, you're gonna have Powerade, which is basically watered down. It's not like very, very thick, and you're gonna have they might have some little like gummy bears or whatever they're called, the beans, sports beans. You're gonna have those. Sometimes, depending on the weather, bananas are going to be out there. And so they've actually even had chocolate out there for the marathon. All right, my suggestion again is, if you're not trained, do not eat it. One of my first marathons at Disney, because those are the marathons I've done, so one of the first ones I did, I still remember I grabbed a bar of chocolate and ate it, and about a mile later I felt it real bad. I learned that the hard way. Yeah, try not to do that. Now again, when you're running, you're doing your training runs, you should have a way like of tracking what you do. You carry something with you, you leave something halfway there, whatever it is. Try to stay with that as much as possible. Again, this is especially going to be to people who are new to running, new to runDisney, new to distance running, because maybe you've done 5Ks, maybe even 10Ks, but your first half, your first full in January. So don't make those major changes, because that will actually take away from your run. But with that said, we're gonna go back to the studio. Somebody left a whole bunch of trash here. This is not very good. But anyways, we're gonna go back to the studio to finish it off. See you guys later. Hey there.
So that was awesome. I love doing those videos because it keeps me going. So I run out most of the time recording, and so by the time I get out there, I go like, ooh, I've done a couple miles. And so I have to run back, and so it gets me active, it keeps me going, and it gives me a chance to give you guys some good information. So what do you think? Is there going to be anything that you want to add, something that you're thinking about adding in anytime soon? Write it down below, and just let me know. Again, it becomes an individual thing. I know a lot of people will sit there and say, don't do this on race day, don't do this on race day. Even I will say that, don't do this on race day. But when it comes down to it, we cannot control what you're going to do. And so is there anything that you are thinking about trying on race day for the first time? Comment down below. Now, before we leave, guys, I am going to talk a little bit more, and I'm going to do this or every video until we get to November 1st. So I've decided to open this up, and I think I mentioned this last time. So anybody who wants to raise some funds can join us. you are more than welcome to join us. I ordered some shirts, so I'm going to have some extra. So if you want to join us and you want to kind of piggyback with the channel when I'm posting stuff, when I'm doing live videos, so that we can give shout outs to your family, friends, whoever it is, so that way you can ask them for a $5 donation, $10 donation, while we're giving them shout outs while we're doing this. So just to let you know, what we're going to do is basically from 9 to 6, maybe even through 7, because I think it closes at 7, Animal Kingdom. We are going to be getting on this order, Triceratops spins, for about 3 hours roughly. Then we're going to move over to It's Tough to Be a Bug, and that's going to be approximately 3 hours, and then Dinosaur. And we're going to try to get on as many times as possible. And while we're doing this, again, when I'm recording, I can't record inside because there's not enough signal to go live. It's going to cut out. But when we're outside, I can record as much as I want, and so I can do stuff in between. But I can give shout outs. And so if you guys want to shout out to somebody, so that way you can somebody can donate to your charity. Now here goes to the people who cannot show up. So you cannot go November 1st, but you want us to help raise money for you in January. Then just reach out to me via social media, via this channel, whatever it is. We'll reach out to me, and we can basically almost see if we can get you a link so that you can put it on your social media page, and then somebody might be there saying, hey, Manny, I'll give you $10 if you give my kids a shout out on this ride, and I'll do it, I'll record it, I'll send it to them, then you guys get the benefit. And this is, guys, this is all for you. I am not benefiting anything off of this because I have already raised my funds, so I am fine. But I decided to help some friends of mine, and I said, you know what, I can help the whole running community with this. So if there is anything that you guys need help with, that I can help with November 1st or anytime after that, please comment down below, reach out to me, let me know. And I was gonna say also, we might even double dip and do it January 12th, because that's the last day of Triceratops spins. So we might get those shirts and we might wear them again and do it again the last day up. I know that I've been seeing some of the running groups or Run Disney running groups, like I'm friends with the Dead Last Starters, and it looks like they're gonna do something. So I might piggyback and join them, and so we can all get together and we can all get on those rides over and over and over. We might even take over part of the park. And so again, I always love doing that. That's a great thing, but we never, ever, ever do we want to take away fun from the kids. So make sure that the kids get on it on a regular basis. So that's one of the things we want to. But that's another thing that we will be looking at doing. So that'll be January 12th, the last day of Triceratops spins before it becomes extinct. With that said, guys, that is it for this video. It's been a long one, but thank you guys for sticking with me. Comment down below anything you guys want to see. I'm going to be, probably next week will be another video. Before the following week, in a couple weeks, we're going to be traveling. We're going to be going over to Wine Dine. So the start of the season at Walt Disney World. We technically already started the season at Disneyland Halloween, but we are now switching over to Disney World. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Any comments, please comment down below. But without further ado, create a magical day, create a magical run, and guys, see you sooner than later.